Alright, sup shotties.
So I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker.
So this is gonna be the long-awaited, like, my fitness journey, like how I got here video.
You think that I'm running in place? Y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the basics. What if my talent is wasted? And see what I'm lacking to placement.
I don't really know how I'm gonna do this. I asked you guys Instagram questions, like questions you had about like me starting and shit, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm gonna do a part 2 or just like add this to the end of the video. We'll see. I don't know. I was gonna get ready for this video, but then I was like do my hair and shit. But then I was like, you guys see me looking like a full-on rat on TikTok. What is the point? So yeah, I guess we're just gonna start. This probably doesn't make any sense, but just bear with me. So I guess we'll start out with like childhood Kenzie. So I was always overweight and I would always try like try new diets. Like, probably the first time I went on a diet, I was probably in like middle school. Like, you know, like when you're just on it for like a week and then you're off and like whatever. But I was always overweight, but I played sports. So I was younger, I played softball, but I've danced my entire life up until like high school ending, right? And that's kind of like, dance is without a doubt the reason like who I am today type of shit. I was always overweight, but I was always athletic. And whatever, I was a dancer, so it was like a lot of cardio. I'd eat whatever the fuck I wanted. In high school, I would always like kind of yo-yo diet, but it never lasted. Like, I would go on those dumb fucking diets that were like, oh, as a snack, you can have 10 almonds. I used to count out 10 almonds, put them in a bag, have a salad, tell myself I was gonna run before school in fucking Wisconsin winters. Like, that's not happening, Kenzie. But the reason why I say that dance kind of made me who I am today is it was something I was so passionate about, and people who like knew me then, it makes sense to them like how aggressive I am with bodybuilding because that's how I was with dance. I wasn't naturally good at dance. Like, I'm not like a naturally flexible person. Like, to be honest, I just had to work harder than most people, like just to get to where I was. It was a struggle to get from JV to varsity. Like, there was nothing I wanted more in this world to be on fucking varsity. Like, when I was a freshman and sophomore, like every single fucking day after practice, you'd practice what, like 5 days a week. I'd go home, I'd do an hour of conditioning and then stretch for 2 hours because without a doubt, like my flexibility was like my biggest downfall when it came to dance. And then my sophomore year, end of my sophomore year, I finally made varsity. It was like best day of my fucking life. And my dad always says, like, to this day, he's like, the best thing that ever happened to you was like not making the teams that you wanted to. So that's kind of, I think, where my like drive comes from, because a lot of the questions from Instagram, people were like, how did you like stay disciplined in the beginning? Like, how do you like stay disciplined, whatever? Because people know at this point, like, it's not motivation, right? It's discipline. But I think a lot of people just lack drive. Like, I think a lot of people don't know what it's like to just like have a goal that you want so fucking badly and you will do anything to accomplish it. I don't think a lot of people understand that, in my opinion, if you weren't like an athlete as a child. And I don't know, people may have different opinions. That's just how I think of it. But anyway, so whatever. I danced all throughout high school. I was like literally like, we were fucking culty. Like, my senior year, no, we would be like, if you're not here to Wednesday, get the fuck out of this gym. Like, I don't want you here. Like, it was like, you're all in or you're out. Like, I don't fucking want you here if you're not trying to work. So that's what dance was. When high school ended, I thought my life was fucking over. Like, when I no longer had dance team, like, I was like, what else do I have to live for? Like, absolutely like nothing else, right? And then I go to college and I went to school in LA, and it was kind of like, it was a situation where it wasn't like dorm. So you went straight into apartment style. Like, yeah, I had a roommate, so it was like 4 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. So I had to buy groceries like from the get-go. And growing up, like, we always ate like healthy. I just always liked food. Like, my mom's always said, like, when I was little, like, I was like 5 years old, I was like a little scaredy cat, like really shy kid, which I know is hard to believe. But like, to go down the water slide, like, my mom would literally have to like bribe me with food because like I was just like, that's the only thing. I've always loved food. And yeah, I guess, I don't know. So we always ate healthy, point blank, but I just ate like a lot of food. And then I moved to LA. Obviously, it's like the first time on my own. I'm not dancing anymore, so it's like, I'm still having the same eating habits, but like, I'm not dancing. And all I was doing was smoking and drinking and partying and eating and having Chick-fil-A and Wingstop and all of the fucking things all of the goddamn time. Like, I did no physical movement. I walked, I guess, but like, I was just eating and partying. Like, that's literally all I fucking did. And that's also when I started smoking. So I was just eating so much fucking food all of the time. And it was like, my freshman year, so it was like a dorm situation, not a dorm situation, but like, the way that my school worked, I went to FITM, so if you know what that is, it's a design school in downtown LA, and the way that it works is they don't have dorms, they just like have contracts with apartments. So you're not living like, my school is small enough, so like there would maybe be like 15 other units in that apartment building with students, but the rest of it was just like regular people, right? So it wasn't like I was getting sick a lot my freshman year of college, but it wasn't like how people get sick in dorms because like a bunch of kids in a dorm, right? And I got to a point where I was like, okay, you live in LA. Like, I was getting like cold sick a lot of the time. And I just got to a point, like second semester, I was like, I need to work out just to like feel good and to be healthy. Like, that is what I need to do. And I was like, you just need to go to the gym and start like eating like things that are good for you. Like, I used to buy like cookie dough and just eat it as a snack. Like, bitch, what are you doing? Like, what? That, no way, shape, or form is that helping you, bitch. Especially when you're high, you're eating that like whole fucking thing. No. But anyways, so yeah, I just knew that I had to like get healthy, and that's why I say like this is the first time that it actually worked, is because it wasn't because I just wanted to be skinny. It was because I wanted to be healthy and I wanted to be strong. I never really had a like I want to be like super skinny phase, just because like I fucking knew like I knew what the situation was basically. So how it started was my apartment gym had like an elliptical and dumbbells and a treadmill, and that's kind of when like HIIT workouts were super in. So like Whitney Simmons was my bitch. How I learned how to lift like fully was I would go to her YouTube channel, like let's say it was like shoulder workout, and it would be like military press. I would take a video on Snapchat of it and then say military press like with text on it, save it to my memories so that like when I was in the gym I would know what that movement was, because I didn't know what a shoulder press was. I didn't know what I didn't know what a tricep push down was. Like, I didn't know the terminology, so I kind of made myself like my own library in my Snapchat memories, and that's how I learned how to lift. But anyway, so Whitney Simmons did that. That was also like when everybody was doing like treadmill sprints, so I would do those. At first I started doing like Pinterest workouts, whatever. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at all, had no idea. I just knew I had to be in a gym. So I started going to the gym. The gym was always kind of consistent for me. Like, I never hated working out. Like, I was always kind of athletic. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at all, but like I kind of like knew what was happening. Yeah, so where am I going with this? So that's where I started there, but then I mentioned in my TikTok a lot, like I was accidentally bulking for like a large part of my, like the beginning of it, because I was just eating what I thought were healthy foods, and I lived in LA in 2017, so I thought anything vegan is what I thought was healthy. So I'd buy like all those like, just like processed vegan food that like isn't objectively like good if you want to be losing weight, right? And I was just eating like those Lenny Larry's cookies for a snack that are like almost 500 fucking calories. My post-workout shake was like 600 calories, like accidentally, because I put like a whole avocado in there, a bunch of honey, whatever fucking seed I thought was healthy at the time, like just random shit that just didn't need to be in my post-workout shake because I thought it was healthy. Down the line, I learned that there's a difference between eating in the calorie deficit and healthy foods. They could be different things, right? And then I came back my sophomore year, and I was like working out, but I was still partying a lot, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to the end of my sophomore year, that's when I found out what a calorie deficit was, and that is what changed the fucking game for me. The second I figured out what a deficit was, bitch, I lost 15 pounds in a month. Like, I was like, oh, this shit is fun. And I started lifting, started following more people on Instagram, and I kind of got more into that like OG, like fitness space type of thing. A lot of people ask me like how I got into bodybuilding. It wasn't like one day I just decided that I wanted to bodybuild. Like, that's not how this game worked. Most of what I know, honestly, is from YouTube and Instagram. Just following the right people. Not the booty band bitches. Stop following people because you want to look like them. Like, I started following people that I was like, oh, they know what they're talking about. Like, they're smart, right? I started following a lot more bodybuilders, and that's honestly when my training fucking changed. Is when I started following bodybuilders instead of like influencers and like whatever Fitspo people. That's when my training completely changed, because I got in this mindset of, like, if they can get all of this done in a day, I can get like whatever I need to get done in my day. Like, that was like my motivation that I got from them. No, I used to think like, oh, like why would I like follow them? Like, I don't want to look like that. Like, I don't want to be that lean. Because I used to think bodybuilding was fucking gross. I was like, ew, like why would anybody want to look like that? Which, hilarious now that we look at me. But yeah, so that's kind of like when it changed for me in that sense. And yeah, it was just kind of like a gradual thing. And then, I don't know, quarantine kind of happened. I was like lifting, and like I had like a little transformation. Like, it was very gradual, which is why I think it has been sustainable for me. And then I kind of just got more into like following bodybuilders, especially over COVID is when I really started following bodybuilders and just like really being in that shit. And I always told myself that I wanted to do it, but I would not do it till I had like this burning feeling that like I wanted to fucking win. And when I got that, that's when I reached out to Kerrigan. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna answer questions because Yeah, I'm just gonna answer questions now. That was a nice snippet. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna answer your guys' questions just because I feel like that's more helpful than me rambling on and on. So I'm just gonna go through a bunch of these. Have you always been athletic since you were young with sports? I was a dancer. Things you wish you would have known at the start of your journey. I wish I would have, like, if I could go back, like, I don't regret anything, but, like, if I could go back, I wish I would have just figured out what a calorie deficit was from the start. Obviously, like, my journey is what it was, but I wish I just would have known that because I, like, when I tell people I've been working out for 5 years, I'm like, it didn't need to take me 5 years, but I was young. I didn't have money to get a personal trainer or a coach. Like, I had the internet and then my apartment gym, and I just worked with it. When you started eating right, when did you start to notice the gains in strength? Literally a month. Like, but the reason why is because I had the muscle. Like, it wasn't the issue, like, that wasn't the problem. Having the muscle wasn't the issue. It was just revealing the muscle by losing fat. I'm trying to learn how to cut. Was there anything that you used to help learn the process? The Facebook group Macros Inc. really helped me. As far as YouTube channels, Jeff Nippard, smart as hell. Follow him. Simply Mander. If you're learning how to track macros, go to her page. She has so many meal prep videos, like so many videos about tracking macros. Like, she, like, point blank taught me how to track macros. Like, no questions asked. Ways to keep yourself accountable, motivated. So in the beginning, what I would do, it's so weird and honestly cringy to look back on, but when people ask me, like, how I was motivated in the beginning, like, you should be the most motivated that you ever are in your entire journey in the first month or two. Like, you're, like, in that, like, obsessive phase. What I used to do every single night is watch, like, how I lost weight videos on YouTube. Like, they were just inspiring to me for some fucking reason. I don't know. Was it obsessive? Probably, but that's what I did. And then it's different because I didn't make it an all or nothing thing. Like, I knew, like, I had to just get healthy and just, like, change my habits. So I would still go out with my friends. I didn't make a ton of fucking progress my first year, but it was just honestly, like, just changing some of my habits and not, I don't know, having Wingstop 4 days a week. Do you think your accidental bulk helped you, set you back, or are you just neutral about it? So I don't think I put on a ton of muscle in that time because I was not training properly by any means. I do think more so my inconsistency helped me because I was recovering a lot because I wasn't training that often. Like, I was, but I wasn't type of thing. Like, I'm more so neutral about it. Like, I think it set me back in the way of I could have lost fat earlier, but I also think it helped me learn a lot about the concept of just because you're eating healthy foods, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good for weight loss. So I think it kind of, like, helped me in the long run, honestly, just, like, mentally. How did you get comfortable in a packed gym? So the first time I started working out in a gym, so I started working out in my apartment gym like January of 2017. And then that summer is when I went back to Wisconsin and I worked out at Planet Fitness. And like, I kind of knew what I was doing. I don't know. I've always kind of had this like, fuck man, like I'm gonna be in your space with you like it or not personality. So I wasn't like, oh my God, there's so many men here. But what I would do, because I didn't know where shit was, is, so remember I had my Snapchat library of Whitney Simmons videos, but I would go on the treadmill and just kind of like scope out the situation, like see what machines were available, like the little 15-minute like incline walking warm up, so I could kind of see what I was gonna go to first and plan out my workout mentally. Was there anyone in real life that would give you hate for bodybuilding? No. And if they think it, they don't say it. Like, it's not like the only person ever is like my grandma. Like, I've shown her pictures of people, she's like, oh, they look like a man. I'm like, grandma, you're not gonna like what I look like. But it's, people only say that shit on the internet. Or if they do, it's like the negative comments from friends and family, they eventually go away once they realize that this isn't like a phase and that like this is just your life, because it's just like a waste of their fucking breath. Like, especially like my personality, my parents, I got questions about like, oh, like what do your parents think of it, like whatever. Like, my parents know that they can't tell me shit. Like, my parents know that I'm gonna do what I want to do regardless, so it's like they might as well support it. And also bodybuilding is like a sport to them. Like, my dad, it's like competitive, so he's like into it. What was the hardest part in the beginning for you? Like, definitely just like, no, I don't want to go to Wingstop. The Wingstop was just like a reoccurring thing my freshman year of college. Like, it was definitely like the balance between like partying and like eating like fucking 18-year-olds do and like wanting to do my fitness shit. Especially because like that's a time in your life when like nobody wants to do that, you know? When did you know that you wanted to become a bodybuilder? It's not that I knew I wanted to become a bodybuilder. I knew that I wanted, like, I had followed bodybuilders for a long enough time, and then one day I was like, oh, like, I think I could maybe do that. And it was just like, oh, like, I think I maybe could. And then you're like, oh shit, and then you just kind of get more into it. Did you suffer from gym anxiety? Yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, I knew I just had to do it. Like I've always just had that kind of personality where it's just like, you can't let other people like scare you out of life. Like, it's just like, yes, I had gym anxiety, but like, I don't know, sometimes you just gotta chill in your car for a bit. I think what helps gym anxiety a lot is just having a fucking plan. If you know what you're doing, like a lot of your anxiety comes from like, I don't know, people are looking at me, like I'm doing things wrong, like what am I gonna do? Like that's where most people's gym anxiety like stems from. How do you know if you're quad or glute focused? You just kind of fucking know. And if you don't know, like it's not like you need to know. Like it's not, like for me, I'm just so aggressively quad dominant, it's not even fucking funny. But I've always been that way. But it just depends. How did you get through the starts and stops of your fitness journey? You're my idol. Oh, thank you. Don't idolize me, please. To me, there's no start and stop because it's not like your fitness journey is completely linear. To me, like the ups and downs are like a part of it. So I don't even consider them like starting and stopping it. Like even if I didn't train for 3 weeks, I don't consider that a stop. It's just like, okay, like that's just a point in my life right now. How long were you on your journey before you hired a coach? 2017, 18, 19, 20, like 4 years. Did you skip over the just doing cardio phase and go straight into lifting? Honestly, what helped me is I first started like just on the elliptical and doing like Pinterest dumbass workouts, right? And then I went to a pregame with one of my friends and her roommate, which is now my good friend Morgan, who lives in Texas. She was like into like bodybuilding and just like fitness stuff at that time, and she was the one that was like, bitch, that ain't the move, like lift some fucking weights. I was like, okay, bet. But I wasn't like I wasn't scared of getting bulky. Like that wasn't the problem, because I remember in high school, so my senior year on dance team, we went to the weight room and like we squatted one day, and that's when I figured out I was like, oh, I'm kind of strong, because I think the first time I squatted like 185. I'm sure my depth fucking sucked, but like I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at this shit. And I remember asking like the weightlifting coach like every day, I'd be like, can we squat? Can we squat? He'd be like, we can't squat every day. And I'd be like, why? What do you mean? Like I always thought like people who were muscular were cool. Like I was never like, oh, I don't want to get bulky, I'm afraid to get too big. Like that wasn't even like a thought I had. Did I want to be skinny? Yeah, but like I wanted to be like skinny and toned. Top kitchen tools so I don't have excuses. Rice cooker, some kind of air fryer, or like crock pot or instant pot situation. When did you know that you wanted to go pro? So I've been like following bodybuilding and just a fan of the sport for like probably like 2-ish years now. But I told myself I would not reach out to a coach until I didn't just like want to do it, until I got this like, it's a fuck yes or it's a fuck no. Like it was like, until I get this burning desire that I want to fucking win, I'm gonna do it. Cause I don't like, just the way my personality is, like, I'm not doing this shit to get second place. Like, yes, some people can just bodybuild as checklists off their whatever bucket list of life. No, that's not how I play games. Like, if I'm doing something, I'm fucking doing it. And to me, I don't, like, there's no point in my mind for myself to do it if, like, what, just to compete? No, bitch, I'm trying to win. How have you dealt with negative comments about your goals from those around you? So honestly, Kerrigan's helped me a lot with this. She's literally just always like, when you're at family events, just start talking about them. People love to talk about themselves, just switch the conversation. Because eventually, like, they stop caring. I always say, like, people don't respect you until you have the results. Once you have the results, like, it was a lot harder when I was in college because, oh, no, don't do this. Like, people are always trying to get you off track and shit, right? People don't want to see you do this shit. Because it's not fun for them, because they want a friend to go out and eat and do all the shit that they're doing, like, because otherwise they're gonna feel shitty about their decisions, right? But once you do this shit and you're like the fit friend, nobody does that shit anymore, because it's like, you're bitching about what? You know I'm gonna do it. Like, you know that I'm gonna be doing this. Like, you're not gonna like discourage me out of this at this point, you know? Did you start out alone or have a workout buddy? Started out on my own, had no idea what the fuck I was doing. To this day, I don't like training with people. Unless like you're a fellow like competitive bodybuilder and like you're stronger than me. I don't like training with people generally. What helped you build the initial consistency of your fitness lifestyle? I wasn't consistent in the beginning. I just was persistent, I guess is a better word to use. How did you create a fitness page? Were you nervous at all about being judged? Yes, the reason that I started my fitness page is, it's not even a fitness page to me because it's the only Instagram I have. Like, I just got to a point where because I've always been like this, like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. And then one day, well, I worked in this marketing firm, and it was awful. I hated it. But me and my coworker, we like trauma bonded essentially, and we'd always be talking because we'd always send voice memos because we didn't want it to be like on record. And she'd like, we'd like talk about this shit, and she'd be like, Kenzie, like, you know so much about this, like why don't you share this? And I was like, oh, like, what if she said, no, like, you, like, know more than the average fucking person about this. Like, why don't you share this on social media? She's like, you have this look, like, you can do it. And I'm like, no. And then I was like, wait, bitch. You say you don't care what other people think about you, but apparently you fucking do because you won't post your fitness stuff. So for me, it was just like kind of like I was posting my fitness stuff as a way to like prove to myself that I could not care what other people thought, right? Because the reason I didn't want to post is because people from high school follow you on Instagram. That was the whole reason I didn't want to post that shit. And now it just has kind of turned into what it is. Like, it wasn't even like I want to become an influencer, I want to get followers. It was like an effort to prove to myself that I can just be me, like, wholeheartedly and not give a fuck. How do you curb late night eating? Don't stay up late. I can't, even in college, like, I have always known I'm somebody that, like, if you want me to do something after 9 p.m., it's not happening, sorry. So, honestly, just go to bed. Plan your shit. Like, that's really all it comes down to. What snack replacements for evening? Vegetables. I know these are not the answers. What is my camera doing? We'll see. I know these are not the answers you want to hear. Like, it's cute and dandy for me to be like, make this little day. No. At the end of the day, you just gotta plan your shit, eat your meals, and just do it. Like, it's just, there's not always a loophole for everything. Core memory / eye-opening moment to wanting to fully commit to a gym. So I remember when I had first started my fitness journey, I like went to some like frat party at like SDSU, and I met these girls from the San Diego dance team, and they were my favorite dance team. I got the collegiate dance team at the time, like I fucking love them. And like whatever, all big party, we took a photo together, and I remember like to this day, this photo, I cropped my arm out because I was so just fucking disgusted with my arm. That photo, and then a photo at another dance competition when I was like just visiting and watching, and I was like, holy fuck, like you just, like what happened? But it was more like eye-opening in the sense of like validating like, yes, you need to be doing this. Like you need to be in this like fitness journey. Like you need to figure it out. How do you get out of plateaus, fitness ruts? You just gotta change something. When it comes to plateaus, you guys, it's like, hey, you're plateauing. What's working right now, what you're doing right now isn't working. You gotta change something. For me, when it was like fitness ruts, what I used to do a lot is like if I was just like not into the gym, I would go and take like a free like week at like F45 or Orange Theory or some shit like that, right? Because it would help me change it up, but I'd still be working out. But usually by the end of that week, I would miss lifting. Anything you thought was hard at first with Kerrigan. So this would have been when I started my bodybuilding career that you now look back on and you're like, girl, come on. When I thought 180 carbs was like low, I think that was an eye-opening moment for me. And now I'm like, bitch, 180? That's a dream. What should I do to be the hot ex? This isn't even about my journey, but I'm answering anyways. You should do whatever the fuck makes you feel like the hot ex, okay? Just because you break up with somebody doesn't mean you need to lose a bunch of weight, but bitch, live your life for you and do whatever the fuck you want to do. That's my advice. Do you remember your first day at the gym? If yes, could you describe it? I remember my first day at the gym. I remember it was like I would have noon classes, so I got up and went to the gym. Actually, my first day of college, I went to the gym. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't a workout bitch. Like, it wasn't consistent. I think I went on the elliptical, probably just didn't know what I was doing. I remember actually there was this lady that lived in my building that worked at this cafe she owned the cafe that was like right next door, and I'd always go there and do homework, and she would like see me at the gym, and like one time I went and ordered a bagel sandwich, and she's like, no, like get the granola, like whatever, like I've been seeing you work so hard, like carbs bad for you, and I'm like, I wanted this fucking sandwich, and in my mind, at this point, I know that carbs are not bad for me, and I'm like, fine. And then I get the fucking granola, which isn't even, literally there's probably more calories in this fucking huge ass bowl of granola than there is in my fucking bagel sandwich. Anyway, sorry, I just remembered that. Pissed about it again. Fell off the wagon, gained some weight back, and now I can't seem to lose it. Any advice? Get yourself into a deficit, put yourself on a meal plan or macros, whatever it be, and keep yourself fucking accountable. You can't seem to lose it because you're not in a deficit. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's the reality. Like, if there's a way, I promise. How's your relationship with food changed over the years? Tracking macros literally changed my life. Tracking macros taught me that you can have a cookie, and that doesn't mean that the diet is fucking over and you have to give up. Like, tracking macros genuinely like changed my relationship with food, like 1000%. But I do remember, because somebody goes, how do you start tracking macros? What do you recommend to beginners? When you first start tracking, you have to pre-plan. I remember when I first started tracking macros. I don't know if you guys know Gabby Mendoza. She used to be dating that guy, whatever. She went viral for her like weight loss transformation. He, for a while, like if you Zelled him $20, like he would give you macros. So I got them. And I remember tracking them the first day. I was like, this is fucking impossible. I was like, how am I supposed to get this much protein with this little fat and this little carbs? Like I did not fucking understand it at all. And I would just like track throughout the day. I'm like, why can't I hit them? And that's the biggest mistake that every new tracker makes, is they just like eat and expect to hit their macros. Bitch, how is that gonna happen? It's not gonna happen. You have to pre-plan. What I always suggest, I'll literally show you on MyFitnessPal. So what I would do, this is how I learned how to track macros. So the night before when you're in bed, so like let's say it's tomorrow, right? You have, okay, I know you can't really see this. Let's pretend you can. Please focus far away. Okay, this just isn't, okay, there you can kind of see it. So you're in no, you can't even see it at all. Focus, bitch. Okay, anyways, you're not gonna see it, so let's forget that. But what I would do is the night before I go into my meal one, my breakfast, you're gonna put in what you wanna eat at the beginning of the day, and then your last meal, right before bed, so that you're happy when you wake up, when you go to bed. And then you're gonna go through and put your protein in, hit your protein. And then you're gonna put your carb and fat sources on. Oh, and then you're a little over your protein, you gotta decrease here. And you just kinda have to go through and fuck around with some numbers until you hit them. That is the only way you're gonna learn. It's the only way that you're gonna be successful with it. Because once you do that and your macros are perfect, then the next day you literally just follow it like it's a meal plan. That's all you have to do. Because if you try to track and just like eat and just hope you're gonna hit some numbers, like, bitch, what are you doing? No. Yeah, a lot of questions about like what was the one thing where I was like, enough is enough. It was me just getting sick all of the time, like for no fucking reason. How to deal with the judgment of others when you have noticeable weight gain. So, to be honest, I was always the fat friend, so like I'm just kind of used to it, to be honest. Like it's more so I have troubles like thinking that, like, for instance, when a white boy hits on me at a bar, I think it's a joke. Like I think it's like a pact between his friends. Those are the issues that I have. It's not like oh, what are people gonna think? Like in my mind, people already think that I'm the fat friend, like in all times. And I've told Kerrigan this before. I said, I just don't think my mind is ever going to not think that I'm fat, ever. And I've just kind of accepted it. Is it hard to be patient with yourself and your progress? Yes. It's hard because when you first start, a month sounds like a long fucking time, right? Because when I was younger, I'd be like, okay, well, if I can just do this for like 2 months and then I can eat like my friends do. I can eat like my skinny friends do and just eat whatever I want. That's not how this shit fucking works at all. So yeah, I think it's just one of those things where like the sooner you can stop being so obsessed with the end goal and you're just like, hey, I want to be better. Like I want to feel good. Like let me get done what I need to get done today and forget the rest. Like what can I do with the day in front of me? That's when this shit gets a lot easier. Have you ever had an ED? If so, how did you overcome it? So I'm gonna be honest, I don't like how loosely we just throw around the words eating disorder these days. I think it's weird that people on the internet decide that they can tell other people on the internet that they have an eating disorder. That's beyond odd to me. Do I think I've had like disordered eating habits in the past? Yes. But like, was I ever starving myself? Was I ever binging and purging? No. And I know there's different levels to eating disorders. I think it really just came down to like, I was always the fucking fat friend. But even like when I was never like restricting really up until like my later high school years or college. And honestly, like binging was just a problem for me in college because I smoked so fucking much. Like it really, I don't know if I would have binged as much as I did. And honestly, because my binging kind of just brought me to maintenance each week. Like, because I would just like binge on the weekends. But like binge, I mean like binge drinking and just like eating whatever the fuck I wanted and just getting high and like, it was really smoking. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I think smoking was the main reason why I had that issue. But yeah, like it's still like, I'm not gonna say it's completely gone. Like, do I have weak moments? Yeah, but it's not like a continuous problem like it was when I was in college. But I don't know, I'm just very like apprehensive to say eating disorder just because like I don't think that I've went through what many people who have eating disorders have. Just like you're never gonna hear me say like, oh, like I'm depressed, because I'm not clinically depressed. Like it's just like you know, How do you steer away from binge drinking but still go with friends? So the thing is, I did it and I regret it. Like, I would just say no. Like, there's a solid 6-month, like, period of my life, like, my junior year of college that my friends think. Like, that's when I was, like, super into my fitness journey. That's when I figured out what a deficit was. Like, I was in my shit, right? Like, it's that stage where, like, rest days just fucking suck because you want to be at the gym. Like, you're just, like, obsessed, right? And there's like a 6-month period of my life where my friends, like, they think I was at these events and they like bring up memories. They're like, oh, remember? I'm like, no, bitch, I wasn't there. And I regret it. Like, it wasn't honestly until the past couple years that I've realized, like, you can just go out and not get fucked up. Like, it's really, nobody cares. If you have a drink in your hand and there's a lime, if you have a water and a lime in it, nobody gives a fuck because they think you're drinking. Like, no. What was your physique goal when you started and how is it different now? I don't necessarily know. I do remember, like, telling my roommate, like, I remember saying, like, word for word, like, I know I could have a bomb-ass body, like, if I just fucking tried. Like, I knew that I had, like, muscle underneath somewhere. Like, I kind of thought I could be, like, a slim, thick baddie. Now I just want to be as huge as fucking possible. Like, especially my legs. Like, I just want my legs massive. How long did it take you before you saw the results you wanted? 2.5 years. What is a food you learned to like since you started your journey? Mine is tomatoes. To be honest, like, there's not many foods I don't like, and I've always liked foods. Like, I always say, like, I was overweight for a reason, but, like, I've never been a picky eater by any means. Like, I'll try whatever, like. Do you ever go through phases where you absolutely cannot stand going to the gym? Yes. Basically this entire last spring. The majority of this year, honestly, I have not been motivated or wanted to go to the gym at all. But I have a goal, and it's going to happen whether I want to or not. Biggest changes that you didn't expect after the first results. So she's saying, like, body, life, people. For me, it's honestly the way that, like, I've always said, pretty people like to hang around other pretty people, right? People that wouldn't give me the time of day 5 years ago are now my best fucking friends, right? Like, oh my God, how are you? Bitch, shut the fuck up. Don't talk to me. Okay, so that's, like, people-wise. Body-wise, I used to think, like, I had the worst fucking genetics, and everyone who's overweight thinks that, right? Like, oh, I have awful genetics. I have, like, decent genetics. Like, especially when it comes to my legs or, like, my shoulders, like, I have a decent structure, and I kind of just thought I was like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, like, whatever. But I think that's kind of been eye-opening to me. Like, I was like, damn, okay. I told my dad, I'm like, you kind of came through. How many times did you quit before staying consistent and falling in love with working out? 19 years. How to flat out just eat less. First of all, you have to want to. Like, most people who ask you questions like this, they don't actually want to. They think they want to, they don't actually want to. Like, it's not, like, eating less, like, okay, if you eat 2 meals a day, but it's McDonald's and some other bullshit, right? That's gonna be calorically a lot more. When people say eat less, they mean calorically less, right? So just eat probably 5 times the amount of veggies you're already eating. Up your protein, lean protein sources. Like, just eat more vegetables and more things that come from the fucking ground. Like, that's honestly the easiest way to come about it, is, like, stop eating out so much. Like, people eat out all the fucking time, and it's just not necessary. Like, you don't need to eat out 6 days a week. It's not necessary for you. And if you think you don't have the time, I'm not the channel for you, because you have the time, you just don't want to make the time. I said what I said. All right, let me see what else. Tips for hitting water intake, macros, and cardio. Okay. So this is the last one I'm gonna do. Water intake. Biggest water tip I have is start drinking your gallon before noon. Like, if you start drinking water at noon, that's when you're kind of fucked, right? I try to get at least a half a gallon down just in my workout. That means I only have a half a gallon to drink the rest of the day. Macros, I already said, you gotta pre-plan your shit. That's the only way it's gonna work. And then cardio. For most people, if you're not a competitor, like, you just need to pick a time that you're actually gonna fucking do it. And that's when you should do cardio. Okay, wait, this is gonna be my last question. You have the opportunity to do one thing differently from the beginning. What is it? Okay, I'm kind of stuck between wishing I, like, didn't say no to somebody's, actually no, I disagree. I disagree with my statement about regretting, like, not going with my friends, because, like, I was living, like, oh, I'm balanced. Like, when I tell you guys about, like, is it balanced, you just want an excuse to go off plan, that was me for, like, 3 fucking years, right? So, like, that part, I kind of wish I was a little stricter on myself in the beginning. But honestly, I just wish I knew what a calorie deficit was, and I knew that I had to weigh out my food, because I knew the calorie deficit was the end of my sophomore year, but I was like, oh, that's a half a cup of this, and I had 10 of these. No, when I started weighing my shit out, that's when the game completely changed for me, so I kind of wish I just did that beforehand. But yeah, that's it. I don't really know what this video was, or if it was even decent at all, but that's it. All right. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye y'all.